Shaun, not a great first half for Deshaun Watson, and the communication and recognition / understanding between Watson and Amari Cooper, it hasn't been there much this season. Amari just got traded to Buffalo, so maybe that's part of the reason Andrew Berry pulled the trigger, but we saw this happen way too many times throughout the course of the season. It got kind of brought to the forefront against Philadelphia, but these choice routes that have been implemented into the offense just haven't been working so far.
Well, choice routes are just about everybody being on the same page. So I want you to highlight the corner that's guarding Amari Cooper and also the safety. And look at his alignment. He's a couple yards outside of the hash, and we can run it from right here. And so let's see what Deshaun sees. What does Amari see? If you can pause it there, Amari sees a corner that's already in bail technique and a safety that's over the top. So if this is a choice route, meaning I can curl this up and run a hook route, or I can take it vertical, then I think Amari's making the right decision. I think what happens with Deshaun, and you'll see that better from the end zone, is he gets spooked by the underneath coverage. And I think that's why he airmails the ball. So as much as people may think this was just them on different pages, I think this is just a miss by Deshaun. Another situation where this is a layup. He's got to be more consistent making his layups.
So you're telling me this is more of a throwaway from Deshaun than a misread. He just didn't like what he saw. Threw it away.
Just an errant throw. I think he kind of sees 19 underneath it, but this is a throw he should make. I mean, this should be something that Stefanski can call at any point in the game and find an easy completion. It's the right decision by Amari.
Deep passes have not been Deshaun's strength this season. Shaun, on the year, Deshaun is 3 for 17 for 77 yards on deep passes. According to ESPN tracking data, 11 of those 17 passes have been considered off target. And this one Sunday against the Eagles, I don't know how far it was underthrown, but it was nowhere near where it needed to be.
Well, you hear me talk all the time about having bulletproof emotions. And if you go back to this point in the game, things just weren't going right for the Browns offense. And I thought this was a decision made out of frustration by Deshaun as opposed to proper execution. So we can run it from here. The right guard does give up a little pressure. It's not as clean of a pocket, but you can pause it there. You probably got to take this shot to Amari Cooper. Just because you got a little color flashing in your face, so you're not going to be able to step into this deep ball. And with that safety already moving that direction, I mean, you know it's got to be a perfect throw for it to be successful. So, you know, they had struggled a little bit to get anything going offensively, and I just felt like this was just Deshaun saying, yelling YOLO. Unfortunately, the offensive line, who I thought did a much better job of pass protection in this game, kind of gave up a little bit too much here, and that gets underneath him. He can't put full torque into it. This should have been a pick. I was probably one of the few people that thought the Browns did some good things against the Eagles offensively. I think the offensive line played much better, run block and pass protection. You know, I thought there were times when you could see the explosive parts of the scheme start to, you know, become evident. Here's something that I think is another subtle adjustment that the Browns can make to make them better. So right here, a lot of people look at this, probably a bad decision on the throw by Deshaun. But what I want you to do is look at the difference in timing between the play action shotgun stuff versus the under center play action passing. If you can run it from here. Now, I know the snap's a little high to the right, but watch, it doesn't really time up right. You see how Deshaun's at the top of that drop and he's already feeling late throwing this ball to Judy? It's because that mesh point just didn't match up from a timing standpoint. Now, if we can switch it over to in the fourth quarter where they went under center, and watch out, this one times up so much better on a big play. See how he's at the top of his drop now? And it's just the spacing. It gives those wide receivers enough time to get their routes to different parts of the field. It clears up the viewpoint for the quarterback. It just works out so much better when you play action pass under center as opposed to in the shotgun. Maybe it's something that Coach Stefanski and Ken Dorsey can look at implementing more as we move forward.
In the second half, Deshaun went 11 of 12, over 100 passing yards, a big difference from the first half, Shaun. And part of the reason he was so successful was he was taking what the defense was giving him, which is something we've been screaming about now for the last 5 weeks.
You know, it's when I coach quarterbacks, you know, I try and impart the wisdom that I was given, you know, that really helped me elevate my game. And I was taught, listen, you got to make your layups, which you hear me say on here all the time, but also you never go broke taking a profit. Right? When the guys are open underneath, don't be afraid to give them the ball and let them work. Now, this is a play here where I feel like there are two things that I thought were executed at a higher level than the Browns have shown on a consistent basis. One was the play action from the shotgun actually timed up with the scheme. So it made sense. Also, Deshaun got rid of the ball in rhythm. So if we can run it from here, here's an example that I'm speaking about. You see he's going to ride this across. You got that misdirection. Watch, he gets to the top of that drop. He doesn't take the extra hitch. The spacing is there. He gets the ball out of his hand. This is how you play great offense. Watch, he gets up there, boom, ball comes out. Remember the last couple of weeks, I've demonstrated that's been Deshaun hitching 2-3 times, not really seeing it. So I might be the only person in the world that saw it, but I saw improvement offensively from the Browns. Listen, I was raised in a Southern Baptist church, Mike. There's a song that says better days are coming. I'm telling you, if the Browns just stay the course, they're close. They're close to being a better, more consistent offense.
Sticking on that final drive, Shaun, the Browns needed a first down. Deshaun delivered with one of his better throws of the game, maybe of the entire season, threading the needle to Amari Cooper on a slant. It's something similar to what we saw in Washington, this time on the other side of the field, though. And this has kind of become a staple of the Browns offense and something at least Deshaun seems to be comfortable throwing late in games here.
Well, a couple things. First of all, you when you have big body wide receivers on your team like Amari Cooper, and I know it's a moot point now because, of course, Cooper has been traded to Buffalo, but this is where they should excel, and that's contested catches. I thought what Amari did much better in the Eagle game than he did earlier in the year versus the Commanders was he was more patient at the line of scrimmage. Now, I still don't like the fact that Deshaun's eyes immediately go to Amari on the slant because that makes it even a tighter throw because that play side safety does kind of get involved, but it's such an accurate and firm ball, it doesn't matter. So if you can roll it from here, this is one of those plays where, it's just NFL caliber players doing NFL caliber things. That's great defense, positioning, spacing by the Eagles defense, but just a better throw and route and catch by Deshaun and Cooper. And I know Cooper isn't there anymore, but that ball location, that confidence that Deshaun threw this ball with, and it wasn't perfect protection. The right tackle actually gives up early protection. You see great inside move there. Somebody's in his face. Deshaun's just got to find that ability to consistently do this.
3rd and goal from the 7-yard line. The Browns yet to score an offensive touchdown in the game. This was their lone red zone trip, Shaun. They end up settling for a field goal because on this 3rd down conversion, the Browns could not convert. He tried to go to Njoku. Maybe Tillman was open. Maybe someone else should have been the read. But at the end of the day, it was an incomplete pass for Deshaun Watson and company. Shaun, what'd you see here on this last-ditch red zone effort?
We had kind of a similar read in the last play of the Raiders game. Cleveland's in an empty set, meaning there's no back in the backfield. Philly looks like they're rushing 5. So really it's going to be cover 0 to the side that the safety doesn't decide to move towards. So if you see the safety that's right there on the goal line, if you want to highlight him, if I'm Deshaun, my eyes are directly on him on the snap. If he moves over to this 3-man surface, then I'm probably going to go weak. If he stays weak and it looks like that's Amari Cooper, so they're going to bracket him, then I think you got to go through your progressions as you come back front side, meaning that you start with Tillman, you get to Njoku, you end up on Judy if none of the two are open. But again, your big-time players got to make big-time plays, right, and big-time moments in games. So you can't really fault Deshaun for going to one of the top 10 tight ends in football in David Njoku. So if you want to run it here, and then I'll have you pause it here in a second. So right there on the snap, pause it. So the safety's already chosen. He's going to the 2-man surface. So if I was coaching Deshaun, what I would tell him was let's not bypass success, right? I know we want to, and we like the matchup on Njoku, but let's make sure that Tillman doesn't win initially like he does, and we don't pass up an easy pitch and catch for what, we don't know really what lies to the left. But I get the thinking going to your better player here, and I just think Njoku's too quick on his route. Like, he's got to get a little more vertical before he decides to break that in cut, so this isn't such a contested ball.
Even if Njoku catches that, he's going to have to break 2 tackles to make 5 yards for a touchdown. So that seemed a little, I don't want to say.
You can pause it right there and go back. I just want to make sure that everybody watching understands what I'm saying. Those of you that are coaching young quarterbacks. So when that ball snapped right there, that safety is going to the 2-man surface, right? So I know I have cover 0 to the field. So what you don't want to do at quarterback is bypass completions, right? I get matchups, but right here, because the safety went weak, that's a pretty easy completion right there to Tillman if he puts that ball a yard in front of his face mask. So you can't really fault Deshaun because Njoku is like one of their big dogs. But as you're coaching your quarterbacks, you just make sure that they don't bypass completions in order to get the matchups.